Hello, and welcome to another episode of Guardian Talks. Episode 15, I believe we're on now. Yeah, so it's 24 hours after the event known as the American election has occurred. The last 2 days I serious detox, bodily detox occurred. Fever, which broke mostly yesterday, and after yesterday's night's sleep, I'm over the hump of the rest of it. Still only at about 80% now, but I think another night's sleep and I should be recovered. Some serious transmuting needing to be done, I imagine, as well, was contributing to that factor. So yeah, obviously the big elephant in the room. The re-election of the 47th President, Donald J. Trump. Now, obviously those who are watching this and have watched my Guardian Talks before, you know my opinion that I don't see Trump as a savior of mankind, and in fact anybody in GPMS knows that mankind is the savior of mankind. It has to be this way. He's playing a role. There is a narrative, a movie that is required to play out because the psychology that has been ingrained into people, certainly for the last couple of generations, last 2 or 3 generations, is that of a narrative. You know, a lot of people require a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they require a neatness, a sequential series of events that makes sense and allows people to align. That's just how people are, how people have been, socially conditioned to be, and that's fine. I confess I was pleased that he won, mostly because I see it as a positive, as a net positive effect, psychologically, emotionally, metaphysically. I believe that if the Democrats had stolen it again, there would have been some dark times ahead. The pressure really would have been ratcheted up, and I'm sure there are people out there who think, well, maybe that would have been the preferable thing because that would have pushed people to take much more radical, drastic action, such as the worldwide referendum of GPMS. It would have forced people to look to alternatives. But also equally, it could have led to civil war and continued conflict. I mean, already apparently the Hamas has called for an immediate ceasefire to the conflict, like within 24 hours of the Trump victory. So I don't know. One side could say that that's a sign of the positive shift that's occurring in humanity. Another side could say, well, that's just lulling. A cynical side could turn around and say, well, that's lulling people into a false sense of security and lulling people into just another control structure, keeping people in a control structure. I don't know. I honestly can't say. My instinct and my feeling for what feelings are worth on the matter is that generally it's a positive thing, and I'm pleased that it turned out the way it did. And we shall see. We shall see what the cascade of consequences to follow are as a result. I mean, one thing that is definitely clear is a lot of the nefarious actors in the world, especially if those in the world, who in the world's Hollywood, the celebrities, and certain various politicians, basically all these people who are associated with Epstein and the P. Diddy parties and all of this, they are visibly nervous and visibly in panic mode, basically all the people who we sort of known were demonic and nasty in their nature and were minions of the Dark Ones are panicking and are, you know, having breakdowns, quite frankly. So I can only see that as a hand, as the hand of the divine, you know, moving its way through, as it does with everything, moving its way through these events. The more tragic side of things, of course, is the quote-unquote liberal meltdowns. I mean, there's a time I would have laughed wholeheartedly at the liberal meltdowns. I don't laugh now. I just see it as tragic. It's sad, you know, that you have to have compassion for these people that have been so utterly brainwashed and so utterly sold to the mainstream narrative, the most extreme version of the mainstream narrative has been spinning over the last several years. That they are, you know, suicidal, that they are literally having existential crisis breakdowns, tantrums, and you know, it's quite something to see. And in some instances, you know, your heart has to kind of go out to them a little bit, because that Trump derangement syndrome, regardless of who or what you think Trump is, he certainly isn't what the legacy media, the mainstream narrative, has been making him out to be for the last several years. Is he perfect? No, of course he's not perfect. Nobody is, really, outside of the perfection of all that is anyway. But yeah, he's certainly not the caricature monster that's been made of him. And but people are reacting. The liberals are reacting as if that is true, and their world has now come to an end, and they expect to have their doors busted down any day now and be sent off to concentration camps. And it's wow, it's a shame, really. It's a shame. But in terms of where do we go from here? I mean, in terms for GPMS, one of the reasons I see it as a very positive thing for GPMS is because possibilities. America is now once again, the American people and people around the world actually have seen a light at the end of the tunnel, are now open to the idea that maybe anything is possible again. And with that mindset, we should be pushing GPMS to say, yes, this is a good step, but this is the better step and the ultimate step to take. Don't just stop here, you know, keep going. And funny, actually, RFK Jr. has set up a website, the American People's Voice referendum or sort of something, policies. So basically this website is, as an American, you can sign up and register, and any American can propose any kind of policy, and then it's voted for by any and all other members, and the ones which are voted for above a certain point or most will then be taken on board and considered by the administration, which is it not something starting to get very close to what GPMS has been is proposing? So it seems that the frequency and the mindset is already leaning towards that. Wouldn't it be funny if RFK had seen GPMS but just hadn't signed onto it or hadn't spoken of it because he didn't want it to sully or be used against him during the political campaign to undermine because the mainstream media would have obviously jumped on that and called it a ludicrous notion, and said he was insane, and so there's a few people out there who I think have seen GPMS but have not said anything about it or spoken out about it for that reason. Now you could call that cowardice. You could call that lack of courage. Or you could call it wisdom for the immediate moment. Maybe this thing that RFK's done is his first step towards the acknowledgement of GPMS, and we just don't know it yet. Wouldn't that be nice if it was? We shall see. We shall see. Life at the moment is seems poised between an infinite tedium of limbo and an anticipation of occurrence at any moment, and it's difficult. It's not easy. This sensation of being held and suspended, stretched between these two worlds, really, these two realities. It would be nice to have a clear and significant clear and significant something to occur to solidify, okay, this is it now, or no, this isn't it, so you're gonna have to, I don't know, a foot in one world and a foot in the other, wrestling with the material needs of one whilst doing everything we can to raise the consciousness to step us into something much greater than that. That is the mission, and that's the challenge that we are all faced as as guardians. I mean, in the comments below, let me know what you think. Do you see this as something that inhibits and postpones the inception of GPMS? Or do you see this as something that actually as a positive thing that pushes and the inception of GPMS, brings the inception of GPMS closer? No doubt the deep state, the globalists, the truly nefarious dark ones, have several tricks potentially up their sleeve before the inauguration of Trump in January. Nobody believes they're going to fade quietly into the night. They are, especially the ones who have engaged in some extremely dark behaviors, who are now facing the realization that they could be facing or having to facing the fact that they could be being brought to account for those actions and for those activities. Yeah, I mean, essentially the ones who are tantruming the most, the ones who are screaming the loudest, the ones who are panicking the most, you can pretty much, and I'm not talking about just the standard liberals who have been, conditioned and brainwashed. I'm talking about those in circles and in stratas of society who know more than the average. The ones who are panicking the most, you can almost guarantee that they've been engaged in some very naughty behavior, and now they are going to be trying to think of any way they can to escape and get away from having to face accountability. The truth will out, it will always out. And each day more and more truth is outing. The legacy media is all but dead now. So, you know, the alternative media is essentially pretty much established as the new mainstream, uncensored. Um, I think it's good. I think it's positive. But obviously, the ultimate good and the ultimate positive will be the inception of GPMS. And I think people are going to be more and more open to it now. I just do. I just do. So, thank you for watching. Up till now, as ever, as you always have. And love, light, and gratitude. Watch this space, and I'll see you again soon.